Hello YouTubers, what's going on? It's good to see you all here again. Welcome everyone. In today's video is going to be about YouTube copyright rules. So 10 things to know about YouTube copyright rules. I'm going to give you 10 points and we'll break down all the information, latest information for 2022, that what rules and regulations you guys should follow, because YouTube is every day taking strict actions against all those content creators those don't follow the YouTube rules, and they are getting their channel suspended immediately. So in this video I'm gonna explain you about YouTube copyright rules. Here we go. When someone infringes on copyright, whether it's someone doing it to you or you are doing it to someone else, there will be consequences. Either you or that person have to follow the rules and regulation, otherwise you are gonna face the consequences. So YouTube takes the breach seriously and will take down the infringing video. It also penalizes the offender with a strike, and as in baseball, if you get 3 strikes you are out of there. YouTube boots you and your channel if it gets to this point. So to ensure that it doesn't happen to you, you have to follow my advice seriously. Remember who owns the copyright. It's fairly simple. If you created the video, the copyright belongs to you. If you upload content created by someone else, the copyright belongs to that person, and you better get their permission before you upload it. So guys, as soon as the work is created, so is the copyright. And since 1992 there is no longer a renewal process. Copyright lives with the creator and even lives on for a period after the death of the creator. So what is attribution? Does not absolve a copyright violation. Okay, so I got so many questions that does absolve a copyright violation by attribution. Some people steal other people's work and claim it as their own, and that's blatant infringement. But it's not less of an offense when you use content and then add a line saying created by so and so, or no copyright infringement intended, or all right belongs to their respective owners. It's still a breach that can earn a strike and a block of the video. So guys, if you use someone else's work in your video without that person permission, it doesn't make it less of an offense just because you give the person credit. You are still in violation, because attributing the created doesn't absolve or you if you don't get permission. So you should know the consequences. I always tell in my all videos that please before creating any video or uploading, or you are doing SEO of your video or your channel, you have to follow YouTube policies professionally. 2 things can happen if you commit a copyright violation, and those though they sound similar, they are completely different. Takedown notice: if someone spots content they have created being used without their permission, they can send YouTube a complaint. If it's a breach, YouTube takes down the video and issue the offender a copyright strike. So guys, what is content ID match? Content ID is a system YouTube uses to automatically match content that violates copyright against the million of videos uploaded every month to the site. So for content ID to work properly, copyright owners have to upload so-called reference files, original version of their work that prove they own the rights. Normally, record labels, movie studios or TV stations go through this process for all the work they publish, so individual artists don't have to worry about it. Why? Every new video uploaded to YouTube is checked against the huge library of references files, and if there is a match, YouTube automatically files a copyright claim for the owner of the work. So no matter how a copyright violation may have been discovered, if you breach another content creator's copyright, that creator is in a position to have YouTube take down your content. In in the event of a mistake, you can send YouTube a notice saying that an error occurred, but you had better be damn sure about it. If the claim ends up being proven correct, or if you were untruthful in any way, you may find yourself in much bigger trouble, including legal action. So, guys, the profit motive is irrelevant. Some folks will say, hey, it's alright if I use someone else's content because I'm not looking to make any money. Say that before the judge, and the verdict will still be guilty of copyright infringement. Whether you intend to make money from the video or you simply want to share your masterpiece with the world, it still doesn't mean that you can violate copyright law. You need to get permission from the copyright holder. So getting permission for using copyright material, how you have to do that? Getting permission to use someone else's copyright material is often well within their realm of the possible. A nicely written note explaining how you would use the content usually in is enough for a right holder to grant permission. Just remember that it can get dicey because sometimes permission comes with the caveat that you cannot monetize the overall video. But that restriction can hurt big time if your intention is to quit your day job. But it may end up being a bittersweet solution if you are merely looking to add flavor to your video. So guys, fair use is complicated. Albert Einstein. I'm going to give you an example of Albert Einstein never failed math. Why and how? Unicorn doesn't exist, and fair use is anything but easy or fair to understand. Debunking the first two of these myths is easy. All rights may be the first, is it? But when it comes to fair use, that's a single horned horse of a different color. Many misconceptions exist surrounding fair use. Among them, the notion that you can use anything you want as long as you don't go beyond some arbitrary time constraint. But it's much more complicated in some editorial and situations. You can use copyright material without permission, but you must fully understand those situations to avoid future trouble. So guys, if you feel the need to exercise fair use and the use is not non-profitable and educational purpose, here are a few acceptable uses to consider. So I'm going to give you first use of that stuff is criticism, and reviewing a movie or some form of music makes it perfectly acceptable to use copyright material without permission. For example, short clips on the work you critique. Second one is a parody. If you are poking fun at something, it's acceptable to use content without first gaining permission. The third thing is commentary. This one depends on how you use the material. It's if it's used just enough to illustrate your point, it's acceptable. For instance, like gamers on YouTube often records themselves playing a new video game and offer funny observation. This is within limits fair use. Number 5 is academic. If you are creating educational content, it's considered fair to use to reference other works in certain situations. And now for the misconceptions. The first one is you can use 40 seconds of anything. It's completely untrue. You can't use even 4 seconds if it doesn't comply with the circumstances in the presenting list. As a best practice, use the least amount of copyrighted material to get your point across. And always credit the original copyright owner. So guys, the second thing is that you can decide fair use for yourself, and fair use is complicated for many situations, so you may not be sure exactly what you're allowed to do. The things is if you stretch the limit of fair use too far and harm the original copyright owner's ability to profit from their work. You can be sanctioned by YouTube, and that's why a copyright attorney should decide any serious questions over fair use. So don't let copyright issues on YouTube lead to a strikeout. Three strikes and you are out is a common understanding when playing baseball, but in baseball you get another chance after another 8 batters have had their try. So YouTube doesn't share this benevolence. So if they give you 3 strikes, especially for copyright issues, that means a lifetime ban from its partnership program. So that's something you don't want on your record. Worse yet, once that happened to you, you won't be able to recover any of your videos. So you want to avoid getting strikes at all costs. So guys, YouTube gives 2 types of strikes commonly people are getting on their channels. There are 2 types of YouTube strikes, and community guideline strike, copyright strike. So what's the community guideline strike? I'll give you a definition. This type can result from a variety of causes, ranging from uploading objectionable content to having a misleading thumbnail or caption. You can learn more about these guidelines on YouTube community guideline page. I'll give you a link in the description. You guys can check it out there. Second strike is copyright strike. If some part of your video includes content from another creator and that creator did not grant your permission, you can get a copyright strike. You can appeal it or take down the video to avoid a possible strike. The last and one thing you should know, guys, mandatory copyright school must be completed. After your first strike, YouTube requires that you take an online course and take a little quiz to be sure you are up to speed on copyright regulations. The second thing is strike come down eventually. As long as you haven't struck out, community guideline strikes and copyright strikes disappear after 90 days from the time they are issued. At that point, YouTube restores any channel privileges you lost while you're waited out the strike. If you draw 3 community guideline strike or 3 copyright strikes over a 90-day period, your YouTube channel will be 100% terminated. The third and the last thing you should know, your fate usually lies with the copyright holder. That person can decide whether the video you upload should be removed, flagged in certain regions, or even monetized. Yes, that's right. Even though the video may contain any small portion of the person's material, they are entitled to all monetization proceeds. And they can even put ads on your video if you haven't added monetization. So guys, this was a complete breakdown about YouTube copyright rules. I hope you guys understand these all 10 points. So I'll see you in my next video with my new topic. Thank you so very much for being there. Bye.